I'd like to introduce Wendy from South Africa, who has chronic fatigue syndrome. Welcome, Wendy.
Thanks, Linda.
Could you tell us when you first started to have fatigue?
In 1995, I got glandular fever, which recurred 3 times in just under 2 years. And during the third glandular fever attack, I was really ill, bedridden by then. And my doctor started, yuppie flu was sort of coming into the, almost into a fashion where people were starting to recognize it, but there was a lot of suspicion around it that it was just like a psychosomatic type illness and just all in the mind, that you just could be so tired. So he started a battery of tests, and the tests that he did back then in 1995 was like similar to the list that the World Health Organization lists now as the tests that are run to test for chronic fatigue. That's what his diagnosis was. And there were 3 of the 5 viruses. It's such a long time ago now, I can't remember the names of them, but I know that Epstein-Barr, I had 7 times the level of Epstein-Barr that was healthy in one's body. And there were 2 other viruses that were levels were too high, but I can't remember those names. If you told me what they were, I'd probably remember them, but I just know that the Epstein-Barr was just like way out of control. So the treatment back then was 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, and I had a course of gamma globulin injections, which were very expensive. So I didn't have too many of those. But 3 months after this was diagnosed, I was still pretty much in bed, and my youngest son, who would now be 18, drowned in an drowning accident. And after that, even though I was absolutely grief-stricken and getting very thin, I was losing a lot of weight. I mean, I lost 41 kilos. I was quite overweight at the time, but I mean, I went from 86 kilos to 45 kilos in under 20 months. My health improved. And he said that it's possible that the shock of finding my son in the pool could have killed one of these active viruses that was making me so sick.
Wow.
And then it kind of got better, and I had some minor attacks, not bedridden, kind of through into 2000. In the meantime, I'd moved and got another job, and now by this stage I'm a single mother with 2 other small children. And I found a homeopather in George, where I live now, and he treated with, they like almost electric batons that you hold, and they kill these viruses with a sound resonance. And I think that the improvement was sort of like minimal, but in the middle of last year, July, I was in bed for 3 months again. Absolutely exhausted. You can sleep as much as you like, it doesn't help, it's just lethargic, I can't think straight, can't work properly. I've got a very demanding job, I travel an enormous amount, and I just simply could not work. And that's when Matt Scumby, who knows my family from when I was a little girl, who lived in our area, even though he lives in America now, contacted me and just said, I hear that you've got this and you should try NDL. So I started at Christmas time. I was on holiday, over Christmas holiday, for 5 weeks, and I went back to work in January more exhausted than I'd been. And I mean, all I did was lie on my bed at home. I was more exhausted going back to work in January than I was even before Christmas. And by the end of March, I could just feel this feeling of when I wake up in the morning, got no aches and pains, and I feel strangely healthy. It's unfamiliar to feel that when you wake up in the morning, you just get out of bed without just feeling like you want to flop back into bed and crawl under it, you know. So on the 1st of April, I started gymming. I now gym twice a day. I spin, I do Pilates, I do set classes, I walk, I do power plate, sessions 2 a day.
Wow.
And I'm losing weight, naturally. It's easy. I don't eat nearly as many sweets. Matt says that he thinks that it could be that the craving for those foods because your immune system's coming back into line now. Your immune system is not like requiring those bad food craves. Portion sizes are completely manageable. I met a client this morning that hasn't seen me this year yet, and he actually did not recognize me.
So when did you actually start the LDN?
At New Year.
And when you first started, did you have any introductory side effects?
Matt had warned me of vivid dreams. They weren't bad dreams. They were just very, very vivid. I mean, when I woke up in the morning, I felt like it had actually happened. But luckily, no nightmarish stuff. Just very, when I woke up, it felt strange that I thought, gee, did that really happen, or was I dreaming it? Yeah. And yes, I was quite tired. But it took, in February, I was noticing that my good days, I could really feel the good days, but there were still quite a few bad days. And I was traveling, I'd come home on the weekend and I'd really feel tired, but then I'd rest the weekend, and then by Monday I started feeling better again, which I've never had before, not in the lot. No other side effects, but tiredness and the dreams.
So if you had to rate your quality of life before LDN on a scale of 1 to 10, what would it have been?
I like to be active, but when you have the happy flu, it's just that your heart wants to, it's just that you can't. And I'm not a passive person, so yes, I really did want to, I just couldn't. I would say, what do you mean? What I was actually doing compared to what I should be doing or wanted to do?
What you were able to do.
Say a 4 to 5.
Okay, and what would you say now?
8 to 9.
Well, that's quite a success, isn't it?
Actually, I can pretty well do anything I want to do. And another difference, Linda, that I've noticed, that in June last year, just before I went to bed in July, a friend and I started walking in the evenings for exercise. And we lived in the most beautiful golf resort. And in the evenings, the whole day, she would come at 5 o'clock 3 times a week, and the whole day I'd be looking forward to this walk because it was so nice. And then she'd come at 5 o'clock, and as time went on, over a space of we were doing this walking thing for about 6 weeks. The more time went on, the more 5 o'clock would come, and I'd really wanted to go and do this walk, but I just knew that I was going to feel so tired. And the one day, I said to her, I don't know if I'm going to make this. And she said to me, oh, come on, man. She said, just come. You'll feel better when you'll see that you'll feel so much better, because often you feel lethargic to go to the gym, and then you go, and then you feel so glad that you went because you're feeling so good. Now, chronic fatigue patients don't feel like that at all. If you're feeling too tired to do something, and you really want to do it, and you go and push through, you are dead afterwards. I mean, really, climb into bed and just wake up 2 days later. And for the first time that I can ever remember, I'm feeling now that if I feel a bit lethargic, I can tell the difference between rather don't gym today, because I know what I'm going to feel like afterwards, and that's not a good thing, to I'm feeling lethargic, but I know that I'll feel better afterwards, and I go and I do my gym session, and I feel fantastic afterwards. I can tell the difference between those, and the bad days are now way more few and far between. They're just like falling away. I mean, if it was, say, happening 2 days a week that I felt like that, it now happens, say, maybe twice in 3 weeks that I feel like that.
Oh, goodness.
That don't go, Yeah.
What would you say to other people with the same condition if they were contemplating trying LDN?
Go for it. Go for it and just know, not even faith, just know that you are going to feel better. Now, I have a cousin that Matt is also treating. I don't know what else. There are other conditions. She's not responding. And of course, when she looks at me, she can't understand why it's not doing the same for her. But Matt, I don't know what those other things are, but Matt just said there are other complications there. And she's only 26. I'm 48.
Was it easy to get a prescription filled in South Africa?
All I did was, Matt gave me the name of a doctor in South Africa who gets it through Botswana. Apparently you can't get it in South Africa. except through this guy. And it's not tablets, it's drops. Mm-hmm. You mix the water with the fortified water with this powder, and it goes in a dropper. And Matt has just changed the dosage. I was 10 drops after 9 o'clock, or just as late as possible before I went to sleep. Now I do 5 drops in the morning and 5 drops in the evening that must be at least 10 hours apart. And I also take LA and slow absorption vitamin B tablet, morning and evening.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. I really do appreciate it.